First Lady sees for herself migrant children separated from their parents. Her visit to Texas comes as those families wait to learn when they will be reunited. Good evening. I'm John McKay.
I'm Cynthia Isaguirre. News 8's Cleo Green is in studio. And Cleo, is there any timeline yet on when this will happen, these reunions?
Can you believe it? It's starting to happen now there in Fort Worth. That's where we begin. At this point, there's still no plan to reunite those families. Another concern is how to make those reunions possible. But it's starting to happen in Fort Worth today. 2 of the 12 migrant children being housed by Catholic Charities were reunited with family members. Officials tell us they expect 2 more children to arrive and fill those beds. And today on the border, First Lady Melania Trump made a surprise visit to the shelter McAllen. The First Lady spoke out against separating families at the border days before President Donald Trump signed an executive order which put an end to the practice. A spokeswoman said she suggested making the trip to McAllen on Tuesday and came up with questions about the thousands of children who are alone in detention centers tonight.
I'm here to learn about your facility, and which I know you house children on a long-term basis. And I also like to ask you how I can help to these children to reunite with their families as quickly as possible.
And 20 mayors from around the nation also showed up to a border facility in Tornillo. Today they called for an action from the Trump administration to reunite the children as quickly as possible. The mayors of both Dallas and Fort Worth were at today's meeting. They're in Europe on a trade mission. And tonight, the New York Times reports the Department of Homeland Security has asked the Pentagon to prepare housing for 20,000 migrant children. Those children, well, they would live on military bases. Now, another problem along the border is heavy rain and flooding. We're there, and are they drying out at all at this point?
A little bit, Cleo, but I'm